Well, the North Texas Mean Green hit the road today in search of their 6th win and looking to become bowl eligible. But in order to do so, they'll have to defeat the defending West Division champions in the LaTech Bulldogs in Ruston, Louisiana. Welcome into Mean Green Game Day. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Nick Laupius, and here at the desk, I'm joined by Shahji, Adam, Jordan James, and Jackson Donovan. And first of all, 4-1 in conference play for North Texas, but a kind of ugly win for North Texas, having to come from behind against Old Dominion last week. But hey, they're 4-1 in conference play. What'd you guys see last week?
I was a little scared about that win. Going into North Texas games, you always get a little terrified. I'm always not so sure about whether we're going to win or lose, and we really should have wiped the floor with them. We scored 45 points. I'm pretty sure that's enough to get the win, yet somehow we allowed them to score 38 points. We went scoreless in the third quarter. I was really nervous. At one point, we were behind. Our special teams wasn't doing good. We allowed 2 kick returns. We were 6 of 14 on third downs. It was really just sloppy play by a team that's way better than what this score should have been.
Despite what ODU's record indicate, I believe this team, in a sense, is kind of like, getting a little bit better. The week before UNT game, they lost to Western Kentucky by 4 points, despite the week before they getting blowed out to Marshall by 33 points. But, I mean, as a North Texas fan, I can understand you're probably scared watching that game because you're like, this team, like I said, this team is 2-6, 2-5. You're supposed to dominate them, but overall, it was a big win for North Texas.
This team, when we're talking about North Texas, it started out great. Scored a touchdown the first 5 minutes, controlling the pace a little bit better. Y'all are being a little bit pessimistic on UNT. I understand. I get it. Going to give you a little bit of a bright spot. For the first time all year, UNT won the turnover battle. We can finally say the defense came through and we won the turnover battle. However, we still gave up 2 turnovers, and so it was a little bit down. But there is a bright side moving forward.
All right, so with that win, 4-1 in conference play, sole possession of first place in the West Division, and now really in their drive, really in control of their own fate to get a spot in that conference championship game. What does that win last week do for the title hopes for North Texas?
Good.
Well, in a sense, like you said, it keeps it alive. Anytime you win is good. This team is one win away from securing a bowl game. And look at the schedule; it's a very favorable. They have LaTech today. They get past them. You have UTEP and you have Army. And I believe those are 2 games they should win. So definitely puts them in the driver's seat to being in the Conference USA title game.
Yeah, we're looking at the division right now. I understand that UAB and Southern Miss are 1 game behind us. We have the tiebreaker over both of them right now. Yeah. Even UTSA is in there, kind of looming a little bit. We still in the tiebreaker over them. Of our last 4 games, 3 of those teams are the 3 bottom teams in our conference. We have to win 2 of them. If we can get 2, and what I would love to see a revenge game against Army where they win that, 9-3. There's a chance to go 9-3, and we could actually end up hosting a bowl game and not at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Now, before we do get too excited, there's been a lot of inconsistency for this North Texas team. You mentioned it; they got outscored 15-0 in that third quarter against Old Dominion. Why is there so much inconsistency? Almost seems like every game throughout this season.
It has to go with defense and confidence. Our defense has been struggling. We do not have a good secondary, and I feel like our run defense is just not. It just hasn't really shown improvement. I mean, look, Jeremy Cox had 24 carries for 109 yards. You can't allow that if you're facing honestly that bad of a team. You just can't do that. Not only that, confidence-wise, every time it looks like we're going to go on a great run, we just lose, and all their confidence just goes right back to the ground, and we have to start from square one all over again. It just seems that inconsistencies, they just don't know how to win. They just don't understand how to be a winning program because they haven't been a winning program in a while. So now that it's been a whole culture change, they just don't know how to capitalize on that.
I mean, I thought you said it best. Like you said, this team doesn't know how to win. They don't know how to handle success. But I believe it's up to the coaching staff to put this team in position to be able to withstand, to be able to hold on to those lead, just put them in the right position, make plays.
To me, it all starts with the defensive line. Every show we have had, I have harped on the defensive line, and I'm going to continue doing it today.
All right.
It all starts with the front 4, and sadly, I have to change from front 4 to front 3 because this team doesn't understand and doesn't exactly know what they're going to throw at a team when it comes defensive line-wise. They have had to shift things around. They've gone from nose tackle to a front 4 down, and they have not been able to figure it out. When you have our last 2 games, they've given up 400 and 200 yards of rushing offense. It cripples a team because it allows the other team to win the time of possession. And when you're trying to win at least a division in your conference, you have to win the time of possession.
And going back to what you guys said, well, this team, it's been a while since they've been a winning program, not really maybe sure if they know how to win and finish off games. Yet, in these close games, they've been coming out on top in these come-from-behind victories. What does that kind of speak to maybe just the determination and the never-give-up attitude of the football team?
going into games, like I said, football is more of it's like chess. I know it's a really physical game, but football, I feel like mind games, mental ability, that really helps. We going in, they went on that, they scored 15 points, and we scored 0 in the third quarter. Usually some other teams would probably break under the pressure, but knowing Seth Luttrell, knowing Mason Fine, how poised they are, on the sidelines trying to motivate their team, we eventually came back, we got the victory. I feel like they'll look at the positives on it because Mason Fine had another great game. I know Jeffrey Wilson struggled, but I feel Mason Fine, once he's the motivator of this team, and so is Seth Luttrell. When those guys are confident in the team, that most likely they're going to come out on top.
I feel like from a confidence standpoint, it gives this team, it lets them know in a sense that, okay, when we're down, we can find a way to win these games. So in the end, I think it's going to pay dividends as they approach these last few conference games.
I think we've said it again several times. It comes to the new Denton persona. We've already had 2 games this year in top 4 teams in our division that we've had to go down in the last 2 minutes, do a game-winning drive. One ended with a field goal and one ended with an incredible touchdown that they did in less than a minute. Whenever you look at those situations and the team is able to pull through, and you see a young quarterback like Mason Fine be able to pull through, show his team, I've got this. We're okay. Whenever you can do something like that, it shows that the coaching staff is doing something right. They need to take that momentum into these last 4 games, do well in these last 4 games, win at least 2-3, go into a conference divisional title, and maybe get some revenge. You never know.
I saw something interesting, like with 2 minutes left to play, North Texas has 15 touchdowns. That just speaks to their ability to be able to score late in games.
So they've been pretty clutch when they need to, but again, the inconsistency, a big part of this North Texas team. Jackson, you have something to say?
I just think if we could put ourselves in position in the second quarter instead of the fourth quarter to win, we would have a much less stressful season at least come forward. It just all comes down to that second quarter.
All right, anything else to add before we go to break? Anything? Were you more kind of relieved or happy with that Old Dominion win? I know I was just a little more relieved after that victory.
Oh, I was so relieved after seeing those 2 kick returns. I was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, just stop!" And then Trevor Moore missed a field goal. You just don't know what's going on. Jeffrey Wilson, he got hurt. He fumbled down that play. Nick Smith had to take over. You didn't see that veteran running back on the field, to have that experience. So you're a little more nervous. Mason Fine throwing an interception. It just didn't look like them. They just didn't look like themselves against this team. But I was really relieved. But we got the dub, so I'm happy about that.
As I was watching that game, I came to the conclusion that they really don't have a true a number 1 receiver. Jalen Guyton has been streaky. Rico Bussey comes up. I mean, it's hit and miss. They need a number 1 receiver and Jeffrey Wilson going to establish that run game.
Yeah, so inconsistency still a problem for this North Texas team, but we're able to get that victory last week and now are looking to become bowl eligible. But coming up on the other side of the break, we'll take a look at some of the head coaches around the nation and in Conference USA and kind of give them a grade on how they're doing mid-season. So stay with us on Mean Green Game Day.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, what I've always wanted to be.
Well, we're a little bit past the midterm part of the semester this year, and the students, while we have our midterm grades, the coaches haven't yet gotten their grades, and that's what we're going to do here in this segment, talk about and give midterm grades to some of these coaches. And let's start off at Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, the young head coach for OU, and they're having a pretty good season. What do you guys think how Lincoln Riley's doing so far?
I'm going to give them an A. You know, overall, they're 7-1. They're 4-1 in conference. They're ranked 8th overall. They're scoring over 43 points per game. They're only allowing 25 points. You know, what he's done with Baker Mayfield, making him a Heisman candidate, I'm just going to give him an A for that.
I'm going to have to give him an A-. Like you said, they're 7-1, first in the Big 12. Bob Stoops left, so we thought this was going to be a down year for OU, but it's been anything but that. You know, this team looks poised to maybe be in the college football playoffs. But, I mean, OU has found a way to win tough games against Texas, Baylor, and K-State.
Lincoln Riley has been able to continually go through the traditions of Oklahoma of having 70% of their roster be from Texas and still beat Texas. It's the one thing that Lincoln Riley's been able to do. He's been able to keep the recruits that were going to be the high stake on this team. And then when you have someone like Baker Mayfield, who is the kind of the icon of the team. I don't want to say that because he'll hear it go to his head and, you know, he'll tell some other team that he's daddy. And so, you know, you just never know with his Oklahoma team. But Lincoln Riley has been able to do a great job of controlling the pace of this team. I understand the Iowa State game was a little bit of a stumble. They're still doing okay. If they can run the table, I can see Lincoln Riley doing very well, getting a very high-stake bowl game at the end of the year. Yeah, so OU's had a pretty good year. Now USC coming into the season, high hopes, have been struggling recently. How do you guys think Clay Helton has been doing so far at the helm?
I'm going to give him a B. I know last year they were 10-3, and overall they were ranked 3rd, but you know, right now they're ranked 17th. However, they are 5-1 in conference, and I think they are scoring 34 points per game. They are allowing 26 points per game, but overall, I think he's done enough to earn a B.
I'd have to give him a B+. Like you said, they're 7-2 overall. They have a very favorable schedule down the stretch, playing Arizona, UCLA, Colorado. This team looks poised to make the Rose Bowl again. They had a loss against Notre Dame, but we see Notre Dame is actually a really quality win team, and then they lost to Washington State. So no bad losses there.
I'm going to give them B-. They've done a pretty decent job of being able to stay on script of what they thought the season's going to be. If they can be able to get a good bowl game by the end of the year, I think they're going to call this season a win. And
USC, who beat Texas in a close game. Tom Herman in his first year at UT. How do you think he's been able to do so far his first year at UT?
I'm gonna give another B to Tom Herman. I know it's his first year coaching at Texas, but if you look at the record, I know the record is 4-4. You'd think, why should they get a B? However, if you look at the games, they've almost beaten the top teams like Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and USC. Back when USC was ranked 4th overall, you know, they're scoring 30 points a game. It just seems that they're just missing something to, you know, go over that hill. But I don't know, maybe they'll find it next year. But Tom Herman's doing a good job so far.
I'm gonna have to give Herman a B-. Like I said, this team has came a long way from when they lost against Maryland 51-41. Defensively, they've improved as the season went on. They lost to Oklahoma State, but we see Oklahoma State's really good. They lost to them by 3 points. And in Oklahoma, you know, that game is always tough. It's a toss-up who's gonna win that game. They lost by 5 points. But the future looks bright, and tonight they play TCU, so I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that out the way they've been playing defensively.
I'm going to give Tom Herman props. In his first year, as much as everyone talks about the boosters at Texas having as much say in the program as they do, he went and told them, he was like, look, Shane Buechele, I understand that that is y'all's pride child. He's sitting the bench. And he goes with Ellinger, and he goes with the year, and they move through. They have a couple good games. They have a close game against Oklahoma, and then against Baylor, Shane Buechele had to start. And it kind of stumbled a little bit. But he's been able to go, listen, this is my team. To get where we need to be, I need to be able to control things. And he's already starting on the right foot. I'm gonna give them a B-, but I give them room to improve by the end of the year.
All right, now Lane Kiffin over at FAU. The Lane train is rolling there. North Texas got a very good look at Lane Kiffin a couple weeks ago. What's his grade so far?
I'm giving him the perfect grade. I'm giving him an A+. I mean, it is his first year coaching. You look at last year, FAU, they struggled. They're 3-9 and 2-6 in conference. There was no point of even paying attention to them. Now they are something to pay attention to. They're 4-0. They're undefeated in conference. They mopped the floor with us. They're scoring 40 points per game. That's 15th overall in the nation. That is amazing to me. What he's done for this program is just fantastic. It's A+.
I can't give them an A+ because they're not undefeated, so I'm gonna have to go with an A-. This team is 6-3 right now, 5-0 in Conference USA. The year in 2016 he went 3-9, 2015 3-9. The year before they went 3-9. And you would think, how is it possible for this team to be undefeated in conference? But he has came in there and he's invigorated this program, got them believing that they can win and make a run and win this whole thing.
I was gonna give them a B+ just for their gaudy numbers that they put up on offense, and then last night having the Marshall game. I had already done my statistics and my studying for this whole show. Then they played Marshall and won. And the way they did it at the end of the game, for him to have the mindset of going, look, let's run 10 seconds off the clock and give them 2 points from a safety and win this game no matter what. To me, that is excellent coaching, to have the foresight to be able to see that he doesn't want to give them the ball, even with just 15 seconds left. To me, I bumped him up to an A-. I think they're going to be on the right track. And honestly, I don't see him lasting more than 2 years at FAU.
Yeah, FAU's a pretty good season so far, and a team that's not having much success. Baylor, Mark Rule having a very difficult job trying to rebuild that program. How do you think he's doing with that so far?
I know they're 0-8. I know they're struggling. They're not even a team to pay attention to. Just like, yeah, they're garbage. But I'm going to give him a C+ because of what he has to deal with. You look before the season started, they had so many injuries. They lost 41 players because of a scandal, but we don't really need to go into that. Last year they won the Citrus Bowl, but they had actually a pretty decent team to go on. Now that he has nobody there, he's just doing what the best he can. I think he's done enough to earn a C+.
I think you're being too generous with this team. This team should get an F. You know, they're 0-8, ranked 9th in Big 12. No, I'm just kidding. I would have to give the same C-, because Matt Rule is doing it the right way. You know, he's cleaning house. Like you said, they lost 41 players, but in the future is bright at Baylor because he's at the helm. I mean, they lost to OU by 8 points. That was a close matchup, and lost to West Virginia by 2 points. But it's not about winning games at Baylor right now. It's about doing it the right way. So they're definitely on the right track.
I'm going to give them a D+, and I'm just going to leave it at a simple segment. It could be worse.
It could be worse, correct. And now, real quickly, running out of time here, North Texas and Seth Luttrell came in last year 5-8 in his first season after a 1-11 year the year before that. Right now, looking pretty good. What do you have for Seth Luttrell?
I'm going to give him an A. Talk about turning a really bad program into an amazing program. I mean, the culture of North Texas has changed. People want to come to games. You know, they're 5-3. We have a chance for a bowl game, guys. When was the last time we thought that we were going to have more than 5 wins in a season? That was amazing to me. You know, we're scoring 34 points per game. I'm really proud of this team.
I'm going to have to give them a C. North Texas definitely is trending in the right direction. They were tied with their win record for last year, but it's a C for me.
All right.
I'm going to give them a B+ just purely for the fact that we have 4 games left and we have a chance to get 7+, maybe 8 wins in the season. I think they're moving forward at a very, very good pace right now.
So when Seth Luttrell came in, there was a new hashtag. It was #NewDenton. And that also happened with Ren Baker coming in and taking charge of the athletic department. Coming up on the other side of the break, we'll take a closer look at what New Denton means and how the athletic department is shifting for the better here on Mean Green Game Day.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Let's hit those pearly whites, man.
Boys, check it.
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to try?
I'm fine.
Hey girl, what's the name? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing. And it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. Already posted it.
I understand. I know it's not your typical resume.
Okay, well.
But candidate. But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books. I've been raising my 2 little brothers. I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
Well, a new hashtag has been going around the University of North Texas for about a year now. It's the hashtag New Denton. Ren Baker stepping in as the new athletic director, and also Seth Luttrell coming in and trying to put this football team in the right place. I want to talk about quickly just the athletic department, and there's a new indoor football facility coming in. And since Ren Baker has taken over, the overall athletic record is 39-8-3 combined between football, volleyball, and soccer. What do you think of the whole New Denton mentality?
I love this whole New Denton mentality. You know, it started when Seth Luttrell was hired, but Ren Baker has really done a lot. Like, you know, with the new soccer and track complex, it's going to help bring some top athletes to North Texas, and the indoor facility not only is going to help address the needs of the football team, but the other athletic programs here on campus as well.
I think it's great. When you go to school in Texas, you have to be able to compete with the big dogs. When you have Texas A&M, TCU, Baylor, you have to be able to show the recruits, look, we can give you what they give you. It may not be on the grandest scale, but we're getting there in the size of Texas A&M. We're finally getting the funding that's going to be able to put us in the top tier, at least academically, and now it's moving over athletically. We already have soccer is in the conference championship in the tournament. We have volleyball, who next week has a chance, if they beat Western Kentucky, to win the regular season conference championship. And now you have football, who has a chance to win their division in the next 3 weeks. It is a great time to be here at UNT.
You know, you look at North Texas, ever since Ren Baker's arrived, our core sports win percentage has gone up to 46%, way better than 40%. And excluding men's basketball, we have over 50% of winning margins. Just all teams are going up, and our program is just improving overall.
And talk about the indoor facility that can help with recruiting. Another thing Ren Baker talked about was when he first came here, they didn't really have nutritionists to help with their student athletes, and they hired a new sports nutritionist who's always with all the athletes, making sure they're getting the right meals. And that's another thing with the New Denton, making sure that the student athletes are fueling their body correctly. And now we talked about Seth Luttrell coming in, went to the Heart of Dallas Bowl last season, 5 wins, in the year before only the 1 win, and now right now looking pretty good. How much has Seth Luttrell meant to not only the football team but the whole athletic department?
Well, Seth Luttrell has meant a lot to this program. Like I said, before he came here, I mean, no one came to football games. People were actually excited about the future of this football program because of Seth Luttrell. He's changed the culture here where players are wanting to work. The fans are coming out. The donors are back donating money. That's how we have this brand new indoor football facility, but it's definitely bright here with Seth Luttrell.
It all started with the fact that we had a coach from a Power 5 conference that he wanted to come to Denton. That was the first step. He was the first recruit, and it all spawns off of him. What he has been able to do to be able to get players like Mason Fine, a blue-chip quarterback, to be able to come to a place like Denton is great for this town, and it's going to be great for this university.
And it was great for him to recruit a player like a Mason Fine. Nobody wanted him at a Division I level. And for Seth Luttrell to take a risk on an undersized player like Mason Fine has paid dividends for this program.
Not only that, he also recruited Logan Holderson. He's committed to North Texas, and his team was ranked 7th in the nation as a quarterback. So it's good to know that he's preparing for when Mason Fine leaves. He's always 2 steps ahead of the game. He's changing the culture of this school.
So with Coach Luttrell trying to rebuild this program here, getting big name recruits, do you think he'll stick around long enough to really get his full system and to really build up this program?
Oh, without a doubt in my mind. He knows that this team is winning. He knows how good these players are. I feel without a doubt that he's found his home here in Denton. Hopefully he stays because I feel like he's a great coach. He's really changing everything around here. Hopefully he stays around.
I don't believe he's going to stay. Seth Luttrell is, I believe he's going to leave. If the right job comes calling, he'll take it. In a sense, he's kind of getting his feet wet here, learning what it takes to be a head coach. So when that Power 5 job comes, he'll be ready. The salary, look at the salaries in the Conference USA compared to the other Power 5 schools. It's nothing for those big name schools to pay it. So he keeps winning. North Texas fans should be worried.
I think the only way we keep Coach Luttrell is if he has his list. All right, these are the schools that are going to come.
Yeah.
That's the schools I want to leave for. Unless something on that list comes in, I think he's going to leave. With Conference USA, although he has been able to turn UNT around as much as he had in the last 2 years, if you have a team like even just a lower, like a Minnesota, like they did last year, bringing in a high-powered coach. If a Power 5 conference comes in and goes, hey, why don't you come run things like you have at UNT? I think it's going to be hard for them.
And I don't think y'all should be worried because we discussed Ren Baker earlier. He's still going to be here, so that's why it's so important that you got to continue to put your trust in the athletic department. We'll bring somebody else in to build on the culture that Seth Luttrell has laid since he's been here at UNT.
And then talking about the recruits he's been able to bring in, Mason Fine. He's only a sophomore, and we saw, especially with that last play against UTSA, sacrificing his body to make that play. He's only a sophomore, and he already looks like maybe a senior out there in terms of his leadership. How much has he meant to Seth Luttrell's plan in turning around this program?
You know, like I said earlier, I feel that he is the reason we win games. You know, even though he has a hurt knee, he's still out there poised. He's still taking hits like nobody out there, and he's still making great plays. And you look at all the QB stats at Central USA, Conference USA, he is leading. He's either leading or he's in the top 3. That is just amazing to me. He's going to break the record for passer efficiency, for yards. You look overall at his game, it's gotten better overall.
It definitely has, and Mason Fine has been huge to this program, and people question his health. People are going to be questioning his health his entire career because he's undersized, so typically you're not supposed to be playing the quarterback position when you're his size, but definitely he has been huge. He kind of reminds me of like a Russell Wilson when I see him. Like, he just has this quiet confidence about himself. He may not fire the team up in the middle of the huddle, but everybody knows that he's our leader when he walks in that locker room.
I don't worry too much about Mason Fine when it comes to talent or be able to hold himself on the field, to battle through pain. I worry about the offensive line being able to stay in front of him. To me, that is the one thing that's going to keep this team moving forward. If we can have an offensive line that can be able to stay on their feet, be able to give Mason Fine time to find those plays like at the end of the game at the UTSA. If they can find some improvement to do that, I think Mason Fine will be good for the next 2 years.
I mean, definitely North Texas just needs to keep on winning so we can bring in some younger pieces on that offensive line to make sure that Mason Fine stays healthy.
And so talking about recruiting, you got Seth Luttrell, you have the new indoor facility coming in, you have all these amenities for the players such as the nutritionist and all that. So New Denton is definitely in full effect and is very exciting. And part of that New Denton is the basketball team, new coach Grant McCaslin, and in Frisco, there's going to be the Conference USA basketball tournament is going to be hosted at the Star. Coming up on the other side of the break, our reporter Maddie Sleeth was able to go to the media day and find out a little bit more about Grant McCaslin and the conference tournament. So stick with us on Mean Green Game Day. No, that was fine with me.
This is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. And I appreciated it very much, the attention that was given to it. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Well, we're more than halfway through football season, but basketball season's right around the corner, and Conference USA will be holding their basketball tournament in Frisco at the Star. At the end of the season, our Mean Green Game Day reporter Maddie Sleeth was able to go last week and kind of figure out more, and also got to talk with head coach Grant McCaslin and coach Jaylee Mitchell last week.
For the first time in conference history, CUSA will be hosting a championship tournament right here in our own backyards at the Frisco Star. This is also the first time ever a conference basketball tournament will be held in a football venue. Attending this tournament is something both the men's and women's basketball teams at the University of North Texas are preparing for. Head coaches Grant McCaslin and Jaylee Mitchell are both looking to lead their young programs towards success. After going 2-16 in conference play, the Mean Green decided to part ways with their former men's head basketball coach and hired Grant McCaslin, someone they're hoping will bring new life into a struggling program.
I am encouraged because there's just been a huge improvement from everybody, regardless if you're new or if you've been in the program, and it mostly has to do with the fact that they're playing together. I mean, they're sharing the basketball, and anytime you've got that many new people coming together in your first season, you see that. That's a big deal. Yeah.
On the other side of the court, the women's head basketball coach is no stranger to success here at UNT. The former UNT player, however, looks to build upon her past 2 coaching seasons with her young roster.
I'm excited about how they've approached practice every day. Their work ethic, their attitude, they take ownership and responsibility for what they bring every day, and they're holding each other accountable. I think you win with great talent, but you also win with great people and great character. And we lost such a great nucleus of our team, but I think we've replaced it, and I'm excited about that.
After graduating 3 key pieces of her team, Mitchell is looking to her returners and new recruits to fill their shoes.
They understand what we lost. They understand what they're here to replace. They understand that not only do they want to be as good, but they want to be better. I know we're younger, but at the same time, I totally believe in our girls and what they're able to accomplish, and they believe in each other, which is the best thing about it. They grew to love each other quickly, and that's always a good sign. You know, chemistry is huge. So as long as we can do those things, I think we'll be happy with where we are at the end of the season.
Grant McCaslin's new program here at North Texas is starting to take shape, utilizing his returners while also having fresh new recruits he says will lead his team to success.
The tide's turned for us, and we've seen a competitiveness and an effort that looks like the only thing that matters is winning. And then the guys that have joined us and are newcomers, they've come from winning programs, and their expectation is to win, and to see that merge into a team that you can tell is going to value winning over individual stats and accomplishments as a coach lets you know that you're going in the right direction.
Both teams will tip off their 2017 campaigns on November 10th. The men will take on Eureka while the women face MACU. This season, both McCaslin and Mitchell have one thing on their minds.
Champions do not conserve. Understand? It's all in or all out, baby. You got to go hard while you're on the floor.
I'm not interested in being average. I don't want to win 15 games. Am I clear? I want to win a championship.
You heard Coach Jaylee Mitchell talking about her team is a little bit younger this year. They had a good season last year. What do you expect from the women's team this year?
I see them, they need to move forward a little bit. They found their identity about halfway through the conference play last season. They went into the conference tournament, were able to win a game, held it tight in that second game of the quarterfinals, did pretty well. They need to figure out what they're doing this year early. If they can do that, they'll be fine moving through the season.
Like Coach Jaylee Mitchell said, this is a young team, so I'd like to see them build on what they did last year. There's a lot of fresh faces on these team, but I expect a player like a Grace Goodhart to step up, and Justice from Baylor, I can't pronounce her last name, she's going to get the chance to play this year. But like I said, it's a lot of unknown, but I know with Coach Jaylee Mitchell there, they'll be all right.
And then you heard Coach Grant McCaslin is going to be his first year at North Texas. He's not interested in being average and winning just 15 games. He wants them to be elite. Last year, taking over Arkansas State and really turning them around, looking to do the same thing. What do you expect from the men's team this year?
I know the men's basketball team has really been struggling, but after hearing what he said on that video, I'm really pumped. I feel like I want to be on that team.
Yeah, that got me fired up.
I really want to be on that team, help them out. Right now, this new Denton hashtag is really helping, North Texas, especially with the football program doing so well. You'd think that it would transfer over to the basketball programs, the soccer programs, volleyball. So I think it will transfer over to the basketball programs.
Just being at the men's basketball practice, it's night and day between when Benford was there and now that McCaslin is running. It just feels like the intensity is up. Like he's demanding that they, you sprint to the end of the court, play defense, get back on offense. But with A.J. Lawson there and Ryan Woolridge going into their second year here in North Texas, it's going to be all right here.
They're really going to have to rely on youth this season. You have a player like A.J. Lawson, who was a freshman SEC player of the year. You have to be able to rely on someone like that. Even Woolridge last year was third of all freshmen in points for the whole season. When you can have players like that, I understand they're still just sophomores right now, but they are now your experienced crew. You have to be able to rally around them, know how you're going to move forward with this team, and just like with the women, they have to find their identity.
And something that's very key, like, this team has no presence inside the paint. They have a lot of stretch forwards, but no true centers. So it's going to be I'm curious to see how they're going to be able to rebound.
All right, so with basketball coming up around the corner, we're only about 20 minutes away from kickoff in Ruston, Louisiana. It's currently 81 degrees and overcast in Louisiana. Coming up on the other side of the break, we'll preview this matchup between North Texas and Louisiana Tech. So stick with us here on Mean Green Game Day.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But here's the thing, can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume, and discover new ways to develop great talent, like me.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. Already posted it.
So North Texas looking to become bowl eligible and get their 6th win of the season, but they'll have to defeat the defending West Division champions at home. Louisiana Tech is 16-4 in the past 4 years at home, so it's going to be a tough matchup for North Texas. The last time North Texas beat Louisiana Tech was back in 2013. What are the keys to the game for North Texas to pull out a victory today?
Well, the rushing game has to get going. I know Jeffrey Wilson has really been struggling, and the injury. He had that little bit of a neck injury, and he fumbled, and he struggled last week. He has to step up. You haven't seen him popped off. I feel like I haven't seen him pop off in a while. I feel like that's key, and always defense is key. Our defense has to step up. You can't have them. It can't be crunch time where we have to have a game-winning drive with a minute left. Our defense has to step up in this game. I
think the key is just doing what you do best. North Texas needs to go in there and establish the run, whether it's with Jeffrey Wilson or it's an Evan Johnson. Establish the run, get Mason Fine going, get the offensive rolling, because I feel like the defense, they feed off the offense. So when the offense gets going, the defense is going to have a little swagger about themselves, but just do what you do best.
We need to have the secondary just give the offense a little bit more of a cushion. We can't have it to where the offense is going out in the first quarter scoring 14 points and the defense is giving up 21. We can't have that anymore, especially against a team like this with Louisiana Tech that can run the ball and control the clock. The longer the secondary is out there, the worse they've been getting throughout the year. They have to have some improvement. We are 8 games in. This is our 9th game in this late in conference play, and we are not seeing much improvement. We have to see something come out of the secondary.
I feel like it's up to the pass rush as well to get going in order for the secondary to play better, because when they're getting to the quarterback, it makes the secondary job easier. But the secondary did make some key play last week on Eric Jenkins with the interception. D. Bachman came up with a key fourth down pass breakup. It was huge.
You're starting to sound like me a little bit, dogging on that defensive front line. I mean, come on, man.
Well, hopefully they're listening, and hopefully that motivates them a little bit. But looking at this Louisiana Tech team, 4-4 overall, 2-2 in Conference USA, and in that division, still in the championship hunt. If they could get a win today against North Texas and maybe look a little bit closer and try and keep up, because they're traditionally at the top of the conference. They were at the conference championship game last year against Western Kentucky. What have you seen from this Louisiana Tech team so far?
They're injured a lot. They've had over 70 players miss at least one game this season. Heading into this week, they had 18 players that was on the injury report. So this team is not healthy right now. So North Texas needs to take advantage of them being a little banged up. They're not at full strength. I'd say North Texas is a little bit more healthier going into this game, but you can never count out a Louisiana Tech team at home. Skip Holtz always has that team ready to play.
There's a lot of teams in this, at least in this division, you can't really count out. This division has not gone as planned. Who thought at this point of the junction, UNT would be in first place at 4-1 and UAB would be in second? Right now, UNT is in good running because they have the tiebreaker over UAB and Southern Miss. But when you have a team like Louisiana Tech, who is right in the middle at 2-2, and yet they're almost basically out of the running for the division championship, that is a weird feeling to be sitting here at this point. We're talking about UNT as in the front runner. So let's just see how Louisiana Tech kind of learns to deal with having not a losing season, but definitely not a good year in their book.
You know, going into this game, never count out Skip Holtz. Have you realized that in the last 3 seasons, they've won 9 or more games and a bowl game in the last 3 seasons? Only Wisconsin, Clemson, and Utah have only done that, and yet he's with them and with those teams. This is a great coach. You do not need to sleep on this team. I think going into this game, hopefully we're not too confident saying like, okay, look, they're doing bad this year. We can easily do away with them.
After Old Dominion, I don't think we're too confident moving into this game.
It still happens. And no matter how good of a team you are, no matter how much it's happened, you still go into that mindset. It's human nature. It just happens. You know, it's going to be great matchups. You know, Jalen Guyton has to show up again. Jeffrey Wilson has to show up again. Mason Fine, we know he's going to show up. He's the best quarterback in Conference USA. You know what he's going to do.
Looking at North Texas, I feel like they have a lot of role players. I need some players to step up to make some plays. You know what? I'm going to put this team on my back. Whether it's one of them running back, Jeffrey ain't going, someone else step up. Jalen Guyton hasn't really been consistent in my opinion. You know, Rico Bussey, continue to step up and make plays.
Rico Bussey has been absolutely incredible. Guyton has been quiet these last 3 weeks, and then you have Rico come in, and especially the UTSA game, just the last drive, the clutch catches he was able to pull in. When wide receivers has been the one thing we haven't had to worry about. They're going to get what they need. It's been the running game we've had to watch. And going into this game, it's going to be no different.
Well, imagine if both of them were getting going, you know, Guyton and Bussey, what this team can look like.
500 yards passing, 600 yards passing, we could be in FAU territory coming in.
All right, so what kind of mindset does this team need to have going on to this road game to avoid a similar showing that they had a couple weeks ago on the road against FAU?
You cannot sleep on this team. I cannot say it enough. You just can't do it. You know, going in, Skip Holtz is a great coach. I know Seth Luttrell is going to motivate his team. Mason Fine has to step up. Like you said, wide receivers, we don't have to worry about. Michael Lawrence, ever since he caught that amazing catch to win the game, you know, with the Aaron Rodgers-esque throw, he's just been amazing. And Rico Bussey Jr., he's just popped up. Ever since he had that game-winning touchdown, he just seems that, okay, look, Jalen Guyton's not the only wide receiver in this core. I am really good. And Jalen Guyton, I feel he needs to step up again. He needs to show why he is the best wide receiver in Conference USA.
I feel like North Texas don't need to make this game bigger than what it is. I understand that if they win this game, they can secure a spot at a bowl game. Don't think of it like that. Just think of it as a normal game. If you got to think of it being at home, you know, they're undefeated here at home. Like I said, don't make the game bigger than what it is, and go out there and execute your game plan, and they can be successful.
I think the one thing that Coach Luttrell has been able to do very well this year is every single week there is one common goal: go 0-1. If you can stay as simple as go 0-1, and you're not worrying about in a couple weeks or at the end of the year if you're going to get a bowl game, Sorry, 1-0. What
1-0.
am I talking about?
I was like, what kind of mentality is that?
It is early in the morning. It's 1-0. I apologize.
I was going to let you work your way and find it.
We're going to go 1-0. We're going to go 1-0.
It's a great mentality.
Okay,
just they won't overthink the game if they're going 0-1.
So who do you think is, for North Texas, either on the offensive side of the ball or on the defensive side of the ball, who's going to step up, who's going to have a big game today?
I like Eric Jenkins. You know, I've been seeing him. Last week was huge for him from his confidence standpoint. He looks like he's finally getting comfortable. I know you don't like to give the secondary no credit, but Eric Jenkins is, to me, I mean, McLean's there, but I like Eric Jenkins to step up, make plays for the defensive unit.
I'm going to go with more a unit instead of a player. It all comes down to this defensive line. Louisiana Tech has struggled this year when it comes to rushing. If the defensive line can keep that going, UNT is going to put themselves in a very powerful chance to win this game.
Well, if the offense can sustain a drive on the field and the defense,
there's a lot of things we got to look at going into this game.
Most important thing we got to look at is the run game. I know Jeffrey Wilson has really been struggling, but Nick Smith has been carrying the load these past few weeks. He's a great replacement for Jeffrey Wilson once Jeffrey Wilson, is done at North Texas. They have to step up. They have to control time of possession. You can't give this team a chance to come back and have another Old Dominion game. You can't do that. I feel the running game has to step up today.
And LaTech's going into this game a little mad because they went to a double overtime against Southern Miss last week. But yeah, they're trying to pull out this win.
All right, so North Texas, again, looking to become bowl eligible and stay atop of that West Division. Coming up on the other side of the break, we'll predict some of the nation's biggest games and obviously the one we're all waiting for, North Texas at Louisiana Tech. So stick with us here for Me Green Game Day.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I understand. I know it's not your typical resume.
Okay, well.
But candidate. But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books. I've been raising my 2 little brothers. I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
As we're closing in on kickoff for North Texas at Louisiana Tech, we're going to predict some of the nation's biggest games, and obviously the North Texas at Louisiana Tech coming up here in just a few minutes. But first of all, let's get right into it. A Big 12 matchup here, Iowa State at West Virginia. Iowa State has looked pretty good so far against big name opponents on the road, so I've got Iowa State pulling off. I'm not sure if you can call it an upset against West Virginia, because that's what Iowa State's been doing the past couple of weeks.
Iowa State's doing great, but I'm going to go with West Virginia here. Wide receiver David Sills has been amazing. In the last 8 games, in the last 6 of 8 games, he's been scoring multiple touchdowns. He's a threat in the wide receivers. Not only that, Kaiser White as a safety, he's had 3 interceptions this season, and he's forced 2 fumbles. I think that they're going to step up. This defense is going to stop Iowa State. I got West Virginia.
I'm going to have to go with West Virginia in this game. You know, Iowa State's been having some great upsets, but they had those upsets when they were at home. They're a different team when they're on the road. This game is going to be close. It's going to be high scoring. Matt Campbell is one of the best coaches in the country, but it's just something about West Virginia's offense that I like about them. Dana Horgenson really has a way of getting this team going.
I'm going to go with West Virginia as well. Will Greer at home has been a monster. What he has been able to do with the team that everyone thought was just going to be run-of-the-mill, middle-of-the-pack Big 12, or at the bottom, he has been able to pull this team into the national spotlight being ranked. And going up against a team, he had a great game against Oklahoma State, which I understand they have a kind of a lackluster defense. But going up against Iowa State, they're going to be at the forefront of national news, and he is going to finally be able to show everyone, look, I'm here, we're going to win.
All right, so that's going to be a very fun game to watch. Another one, we got Ohio State at Iowa. Iowa's been pretty good, struggling of late, but Ohio State has also not been up to maybe the standards that their fans or coaches want to see them at. But I've got Ohio State. I just think Urban Meyer and his team is going to be too much for Iowa.
Iowa's offense is struggling. In the 4 or 5 last games, they failed to score 20 points or more. That's just, you cannot do that against Ohio State. I just feel that Ohio State's going to easily beat them. I'm going with the Ohio State.
Well, this is what Iowa does. Every year, Iowa's like, high on everyone's radar, but toward the end, they just swing and dwindle. But I'm going to have to go with Ohio State because I believe Urban Meyer has his team rolling at the right point. JT Barrett is finally getting the offensive going, but I think Iowa's not very good. Ohio State's played against tougher competition. I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I don't think it's as much of JT Barrett being the standout that everyone's thinking, okay, he is finally going to be a top 5 national quarterback. I just think he fits well in Urban Meyer's system. Urban Meyer has been able to do very well with being able to put the people around him that will make him do well. JT Barrett has learned to calm down, trust his running backs, and go, I don't have to do this all myself. Penn State was a perfect example. Yes, he made some great throws at the end of the game, but they relied on the running game and were able to control the clock and beat Penn State at their own game.
All right, and then we have Stanford at Washington State, a Pac-12 matchup. Mike Leach has had his team playing well pretty much all season, but again, I've got to go with Stanford. I just think they're the better team. I'm not sure if Washington State can keep up with Stanford for all 4 quarters.
Well, Nick, yet again, you're wrong. I'm going with Washington. I'm going with Washington State. Washington State's defense on 3rd downs is amazing. They are really good on 3rd downs, and to be able to get your defense off the field and let your offense do the talking, I'm really looking forward to that. Luke Falk will make great plays and edge them out. I think Washington State's going to win.
I'm going to have to go with Stanford in this. Washington State hasn't been the same since they lost to Cal, when Cal upset them, but it's just something about Stanford that I like.
I'm going to go with Stanford. Bryce Love, everyone's just talking about McSorley out of Penn State and what that team has been able to do, and then you got Saquon Barkley. When you look at Bryce Love, nobody is talking about him, but he is on pace to set numerous records in the NCAA. They are going to be able to control the clock, and they are going to easily handle Washington State.
Easily, okay.
Easily.
All right, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Bedlam. These are the 2 teams that at the beginning of the season we expected to be at the top of the conference, and really they haven't disappointed. It's going to be a great game. Oklahoma State at home in Stillwater looking to upset OU. However, I have OU winning. I think they're too good for Oklahoma State, and Lincoln Riley, I think, is going to coach a great game.
Yeah, which team has Baker Mayfield? Oh, that's right, Oklahoma. I'm going with Oklahoma here. They have Baker Mayfield. He's been borderline unstoppable these recent weeks, and Mason Rudolph is just not playing the same. There's a rumor that he has an undisclosed injury. That's why he hasn't been able to throw it big, but I think Baker Mayfield's really going to step it up, and they're going to win.
Pump the brakes. I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State because they're at home. It's Bedlam. This game is a toss-up. It's kind of like a Texas versus OU. Mason Rudolph has been playing very huge for this team. I think Oklahoma State's going to be too much for OU.
I'm going to agree. I know Oklahoma's going to win this game. I've actually been able to talk to one of the trainers on the Oklahoma State's team, and Mason Rudolph is banged up. They're not going to – he even won't tell me exactly what it is, but he was able to confirm that he has been dealing with an injury for the past 4 weeks that nobody's been able to at least diagnose when it comes to outside of the team. But I'm going to go with Oklahoma purely for the fact that Oklahoma State's defense will not be able to keep up.
Okay, Adam Schefter.
Yeah, and that's why we have him on the desk. He has this insider information. That's good to know. And coming up here in just a few minutes, North Texas looking to become bowl eligible, get their 5th win in conference play. But first, they're going to have to defeat the defending West Division champions. Louisiana Tech is 16-4 at home in their past 4 years. North Texas only 1 road win so far this season. North Texas looking to stay on top and get their second win in a row and avoid another road loss in Conference USA. I have North Texas defeating Louisiana Tech. I think last week's game was maybe a wake-up call for North Texas and hopefully had a great week of preparation. I think Seth Luttrell is going to have the troops ready, and they pull off the win today.
Yeah, North Texas is going to pull away with this victory. You know, we have to stay focused and we cannot make mistakes. We have to limit our penalties. We have to limit the turnovers. I expect Jeffrey Wilson to have a great game. I think he needs to step up. He really needs to prove himself. He's been having some downtime recently. He needs to pop off again. The defense has to step up. You know, they have to get off on third downs. They have to give this offense a chance to score more points. I got North Texas.
Well, you know, North Texas has struggled on the road. They only road on a win. Only road they've had was against Southern Miss. Last year was at Army. So historically, they haven't been good. But I'm going to have to go with North Texas this game. I just believe they're going to be too much. Establish that run game, get the pass game going, and North Texas can clinch their bowl game.
It kind of scares me a little bit. I think this is going to be an arms race. I see North Texas pulling this game out. I've got it at 45-31 right now. I think it's going to be an arm race. It's all going to be on Mason Fine's shoulders. Jeffrey Wilson's going to have a good game, but I still think he's going to be hampered a little bit by that injury. I see Mason Fine coming through, being clutch again, and being able to give this team a good win.
So if North Texas is able to win this game, they'd only have to win either against UTEP or Rice to clinch that West Division title. How crazy is that? We're not toward the end of the season in North Texas with a chance to claim the division with just a couple of more wins.
You know, my ears are probably deceiving me right now. I mean, if we do win this game, I know for sure we can beat Rice and UTEP. I think without a doubt, this team, though, if they're going on a run, I think if we stay focused, not make mistakes, they can prove that they're one of the best teams in Conference USA.
If North Texas wins that game, it'll be huge for this program because it has been a long time coming. Like, no one ever thought that North Texas would even have the chance to be in the Conference USA title game.
If they can win this game, I think the next site, one of the goals Coach Luttrell has stressed all year is winning their bowl game. If they can win this game, they can put themselves in position to be home team and host a bowl game, and that's going to be huge looking for that momentum.
All right, so definitely a very important road matchup for North Texas, looking to clinch a bowl game, looking to stay atop of that division and perhaps maybe clinch that division with another win after this Louisiana Tech game. So for Shahji, Adam, Jordan, James, and Jackson Donovan, I'm Nick Laupius. Thank you for joining us here on Mean Green Game Day, and make sure to catch all the action for the Mean Green football team kickoff coming up right around the corner. Go North Texas.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
You got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.